Welcome back, everybody, to the PoddiMouths podcast.
Hi, y'all.
I say it like that. We're doing a little bit of a short one this week, simply because we feel like you just need to get caught up on our lives. We haven't really. We've been busy. The last couple of weeks have been very busy. John, as you know, has been battling a cold, and that's all it is a cold for a long time. So we've kind of been playing. Let's call it not hopscotch, potty. What did they call that? Potty tag. Let's call it potty tag. I'm going there. But we thought we'd get you caught up because, John, what's new in your world?
Wow, all of this in this lovely studio could be yours if the price is right.
I see that.
No,
it's a nice blank wall right behind you.
I know there was nothing there. And Lisa said, "Hey, we had not even decorated. You're going to do a PoddiMouths?" Yeah, why not? So yeah, we're in our new house, and we are. The house is done, but it's close to done, and so I think that's
John is shaking his head no while he's saying that.
I have an empty.
I do love the fact that Lisa. Oh, that's never fun. But I do like the fact that Lisa is so worried about the podcast that she doesn't want you to record because the house isn't decorated. That's right. I mean, that's dedication right there.
That's love.
That is. I love it. I love it. The biggest supporter of your side of the podcast.
Wow.
Well, so congratulations on moving into the house, because I know. Yes. No, my wife and my daughter are big supporters, but I don't think they'd go so far as to worry about. I mean, if they did, they probably would care that I have all of our sleeping bags still hanging behind me, and yeah. But they never come up here, so I'm gonna have to use that as my excuse anyway. So that's pretty big, because the last time we talked, you hadn't moved. You were about to move into the house. Your moving day was actually the day our podcast came out. So congratulations on the move and getting in there. It sounds like you're feeling better too a little bit. So that's really good.
For sure, getting better. And you know what? I'm going to tell you one really quick good story about the move. I mean, there are several, but we had friends come in from out of town, Wisconsin, friends, family, who came in and helped us move. And man, they were awesome. They did so much of the putting stuff away and opening boxes and getting bins in the right spot. But our movers were the best ever. They were three dudes. They were all under 30 for sure. And just worked like you wouldn't believe. They were so good. And it did my heart good, because you hear people talking all the time today about, all these young kids are all, terrible. And they're all a bunch of snowflakes and so on. These guys were awesome. They were so polite, so professional, and worked their butts off. Cost me about a third again, as much as what I had intended to pay. But it was worth every penny. And then I tipped them well on top of it, too. So it's just nice to see that there are people out there working their butts off. So anytime, like me, you say, "Oh, this younger generation," don't paint them with a broad brush. These guys were awesome. And there's a lot of that out there, so look for those.
That's awesome. And that's very good to hear, because I am one of those curmudgeons that, what's happening to the younger generation. I just don't understand them. But that's good to hear. And I know, obviously, even when we do paint with a broad stroke, there's always room for exceptions. And I do think there are plenty of people out there that do fit into that exception to the rule. So that's really, really good. And, again, glad you guys are settling in nicely. And unfortunately, I know that it's difficult for you not to have a pool, but I'm sure it's a little bit too cool there right now to actually swim in the pool, right? It's only 80 instead of 100. Yeah. So it's funny you should say that, and hopefully he won't get mad at me for telling this story. But I'll just try to keep names out of it. But there's someone I know whose dad came to visit him, and his dad normally lives in Florida, but came up here to Tennessee to visit him. And he was in the house, and this is what this person kept saying. His dad would go to him. I've got to move the microphone away a little bit so I can do this, but he would put his arms up over his shoulders like this and go, "Brr, son, brr." because the house was not warm enough for him, and the heat was set. And this is winter, but the heat was set at like 72, and it was still too cold for him. So he'd walk around the house going, "Brr, son, brr." I just thought, and of course I can't do it as well as that person, but it was pretty funny whenever he was telling that story.
That sounded pretty amazing. I think you did a very good rendition, even though I haven't heard the man.
Thank you so much.
There's some truth to that the longer you're in, this warm weather, you're really impacted by it, and it changes you a little bit, probably your blood counts or whatever. But the thing is about when you see people like that, especially older folks. My mom always had her house at like 80. And I went, come on. But I'm sure
that's funny.
Probably statistical about that, as you age, or something medical about it as you age, that happens.
Yeah.
So I'm looking forward to it because you know how young I am. It'll be probably 60 years from now before that happens to me.
Oh, easily. Yeah. As I'm sporting my Minnesota shirt today, keep it cold while keeping it real.
Wow.
Oh, so speaking of, there's actually a movie called Out Cold, and it's one of those really bad movies that you just like to watch when you're, really bored, and because it's just one of those. It's bad, but it makes me happy. So I was watching that the other day, and the couple lines in there that just popped to my mind, and nobody gets. That's one of them. Keeping it safe, well, keeping it real is one of the lines in there. Yeah, and everybody ready? This is my other one. My wife and daughter have never seen the movie. They have no idea. But whenever I'm leaving the house, I'm like, everybody ready? Yeah.
So you're doing
from that movie, if anyone ever hears me say that. Exactly. That's 100% accurate. So.
That's awesome.
Speaking of, have you seen this? There's a really good movie. And I'm just going to plug our Fast Fridays here really quickly because I watched a movie last night with Jennifer it's a historical movie, so it's a true story, but it was called Operation Mincemeat. And I believe, if I'm not mistaken, it's on Netflix, but it's got Colin, is it Colin Firth? No. I can't remember his name, but anyway, he's got a couple of, you see their face, you'll know them. They're famous actors. I just can't think of their names off the top of my head, but it was about World War II, and it was an actual operation where they took a corpse of somebody and they put fake documents on this corpse and sent him into the ocean for the Nazis basically to pick up to try to deceive them about a landing that the British were about to do. I'm not giving anything away because this is a historical event and there's a lot more to the movie. But the interesting thing was, and I don't think my wife knew who it was because I got really excited because one of the real life characters in the operation and in the movie was Sir Ian Fleming. As I'm doing a dramatic pause here to see if John knows who Sir Ian Fleming is.
I do, and that was dramatic. Yes, and I'm actually searching for the movie, but I think it's interesting who directed it. There's a little tidbit for you. Who directed the movie?
Yeah, well, you can talk about that after I talk about Ian Fleming. For those who don't know, Ian Fleming is the author of the James Bond books, which ultimately became the James Bond movies. And all the books that were written based on his experience during World War II. So that's what I found fascinating. And there are a couple of things that were directly out of the story that if you're a Bond fan, you're going to pick up and go, yeah, I can see how that made one of the books or / one of the movies. Anyway, John, tell us about the director.
Oh, it's awesome. No, I was just going to say the director is John Madden, which would be a really good question that you would ask people just to see if you could trick them. Not the John Madden we know. You were right, though.
Right.
But also Kelly MacDonald, Rufus Wright. There are some. You will note the faces. There is no question, as you said, Nick, when you see it. So I'm gonna check it out. That sounds like a good one to take a look at. I think movies like that.
Yeah, if If you're into historical movies, that I think it's a really, really good one. It's very, very interesting. So anyway, that's really all I have, John. It's been 10 minutes into the podcast.
We have to use
really.
This as a fast Friday.
It's yeah, exactly. No. So speaking of, I want to go back to home ownership because John and I, the reason we got on this topic earlier was John and I were supposed to, we are recording this on President's Day, which is an off day for the both of us. So we're taking our time, and we were going to do a quick one earlier this morning, but right when time rolled around for us to start the podcast, I called John, which is very rare for me because I usually text him, but I called John because I knew he'd be on here. I'm like, we're going to have to postpone because I have a leak, which I'm, again, dramatic pause there for John to insert what he said after I said, I've sprung a leak.
I obviously thought
but we
a doctor's visit.
Right. And it did, but just a different type of doctor. So Anyway, I was in the garage taking out the recycling just before I was going to hop on, and I noticed a bunch of water in the garage right around the hot water heater area. And don't worry, it was not my hot water heater, thank God. But what had happened is several months ago, I put in a new garbage disposal in the kitchen. Ever since then, some weird things have been happening with the drains, so I haven't figured it out. And I did fix this problem, by the way. I put a Band-Aid on it. It's not solved, but we fixed it. So we have a sink in the garage in that general area, but I have all the water shut off to it, so we haven't used it, obviously, in a long time. And we were storing a bunch of stuff from the studio in there. Well, what had happened is the pipe from the bottom of the sink, the drain pipe, had popped off the bottom. And every time we used either the dishwasher or the garbage disposal or anything like that, it was backing up into that pipe, and that water was seeping out all over the floor. And I hadn't noticed it until now. It's been doing it for a while. So Jen and I were frantically taking out all of the storage stuff and the sink and stuff like that. So we had to go to the hardware store, get a cap to cap off the drain so it can't back up anymore. But it was quite an adventure. Let's just say that it was quite an adventure trying to fix that. I love home ownership so much, especially with things that's not my area of expertise.
Yes, it is and it's very much like that, Nick. And the other thing we were talking about was how I'm back in that mindset now, the home ownership after being in a rental for 16 months. When it's a rental, you just go, I don't care. At least it would say, oh, you should probably, take a look at that. I don't care. It's not my house. And now that we're in our house again, I'm in the backyard looking at a palm tree, and there are like vines wrapped around it. I've never had a palm tree before, so I'm kind of excited about it. And these vines are just wrapped so tightly that I could take my clippers and just snip right up that and pull that vine right off, and then I'll take care of it. And after I mow the lawn and after we've watered the damn sod that's out here, and I'm sure that's costing us an arm and a leg. So, back to home ownership. I feel your pain, brother.
Yeah, it's lovely. It's lovely. Oh, and then it has been unusual. I say it's been unusually warm, but in reality, I think it's just normal for us because we have most of our well, I shouldn't say that because I'm looking at my tree. On Friday, I looked at my tree outside my window, and all of the leaves were budding. So we had a lot of purple flowers, and now they're all dead. But we have all of our flowers in the backyard are starting to bloom, and the grass in the front yard is starting to grow. And it's only February, guys. It's amazing. But we've had some unusually warm days. Not horribly hot. Those are still coming. It's going to be 80 this week. Here in Nashville. It's going to go from 80 one day to 30 the next day. It's going to be wonderful. Yeah. Oh, brr, son. Brr. So it's been unique because I'm looking at the backyard right now, but I'm looking at the front yard. The backyard does not need to be mowed, but the front yard already needs to be mowed.
Wow.
Which I'm not looking forward to because then that means I have to pull the lawn in February. Yeah. Yes. And I did hear someone the other day mowing their lawn, and I was shocked. I'm not, clearly, clearly
a neighborhood freak. Every neighborhood has one of those people. The guy
Yeah.
who's the first one to mow, the first one to water the lawn, do his fertilizer. That's the neighborhood freak.
Yep. Yep. Yeah, it's just remarkable. We don't have to worry about watering our lawn right now because it's been so rainy. But yeah, home ownership, I could take it or leave it. I like having a yard because I like being able to go spend time outside. I like to be able to let the dogs run, and I really enjoy that. But at the same time, I hate having to take care of it all. I really do. I kind of wish. I wish I was independently wealthy, which I'm hoping the podcast will make me, so we could actually hire someone to do it all for us. Then I think I'd be perfectly happy. Which my wife, yeah, my wife rolled her eyes at me today. Which
what?
I make it sound like it's an uncommon thing, but it's very common. A very, very common occurrence in my household. But one of the things that we were talking about was things that make us happy. And something that makes me happy is spending time in nature. I want to be outside. I like being outside. I like hiking. I like camping. I like doing stuff outside. And then, we were talking about the lawn and the yard and all of the maintenance on the house. And I said, I like being outside. I just don't like doing any work on the house when I'm outside. I don't like doing yard work. I hate yard work. But I like being outside.
Yes. You just need to hire something.
I am a very complicated human being.
Yes, you are. Oh,
yeah.
Hey, I better tell you something I'm thinking
so,
about.
Folks.
Yeah, I told you just real quick, we had our friends over. And these are all friends from Wisconsin, like I mentioned, and we've known them for a long time. We decided to kind of get them together. They didn't know each other, though. So it's two couples. And
okay.
You never know how that's going to go. It was awesome. I think they like each other now better than they like us, which sort of pissed me off. But we went to a dinner.
It happens. Yeah.
It does. We went to dinner at a place called Blue Tequila. And yes, the bell's back. And we.
Yeah, he can't find his microphone. He can't find his headphones, but he can find the dinger.
Found the bell. We went there, and it was funny because it was packed. The place is just loaded with people. And so we're, half an hour wait, 45-minute wait. So we put our names down, and they were very nice, but it's packed. She said, the lady at the desk said, you can get a drink and then just go outside in the parking lot or whatever. And I'm thinking, oh, okay, I guess we can do that. So we ordered a bunch of margaritas. It's Blue Tequila. Ordered some margaritas. And we've got these hefty margarita glasses. I said, we're going out to the parking lot, right? And the bartender said, oh, yeah, it's fine. We have 6 margarita glasses, and we're not the only ones. There were probably 50 people out there drinking in the parking lot of this restaurant. And I go, yes, wow. This is awesome. I know, and we're having a great time. It was really fun. And then we called for our table. We're like, all right, well, I guess we can go in and eat now. And the food was good. And so on, great service, but really funny to me. See all these people.
That's awesome.
Pull up and you go, wow, they must be busy. Not because there's a line of people waiting to get in, because there are a whole bunch of people drinking cocktails on the parking lot. Sort of like it. Welcome to Florida.
That's hilarious. So kind of the opposite story. Yesterday we went hiking, but then afterwards we were way out. We were about an hour away from our house, and we were in Centerville, Tennessee. For those of you who know that or know the significance of that general area, that is the home of Minnie Pearl. And Minnie Pearl is, John, it's from your era, I'm sure.
Yeehaw.
That was Minnie a Pearl, big dig. And I'm not getting tag, any reaction.
The tag,
yep, the price tag. Yep.
Yeah. Minnie was awesome.
Yep. Anyway, so there's a winery out there called Grinder's Switch, and there are several locations, but that's the actual winery. So they have a couple of other shops here in Nashville. One in the Marathon Motorworks in Nashville. It's a cute place, it's local wines, it's not going to blow you away type of wines, but not bad. And we've been out there several times. It's really cute. It's in the middle of it's literally in the middle of nowhere. And it's a little old log cabin, which makes up the winery where you go into the tasting room and stuff like that. So it's historic, it's old. And we decided to take a picnic out there. We went out there, we sat down, and we had tried some wine. We got some wines and had a bottle out there we were sipping on while we were having our our lunch. And I'm like, you know what? This is the type of winery I like to visit. Another winery in the area, which is a famous one, it's Arrington Vineyards. Everybody goes there. Like, you have to park across. Yeah, thank you. Both of them. Two dings. Excuse me, but everyone has to park across the street when it gets busy in the summer. But even in the winter, parking is not easy. You have to actually park away and either walk or take a golf cart. They'll take you up to the winery itself. So it's a really good experience. They have live music, but Grinder Switch is much smaller. And and Jen looked at me after I said, this is what I like right here. We're sitting outside, we're enjoying our wine. You know, this is much better than the Arrington Vineyards experience. And she's like, yeah, because there's no one else here. Because we were quite literally the only people at the winery, and it was open. But yeah, we ran into a couple people doing a tasting because they were doing the wineries in the area, the tour, which they're an hour apart from each other, so it's not really that much of a thing. But yeah, we were literally the only ones there drinking wine and having a picnic. So I'm like, that's my kind of winery. This is the type of winery I want to live next to.
That's awesome.
Now I'm sure the biggest.
I was just going to say about wineries, Nick, just real quickly as an interjection. Well, the wine, when you're at the winery, the wine always tastes a little better. It doesn't matter if you're in Napa or if
it sure does.
Switch. You kind of go, oh, this is wow, I love this. And you're outside, even if you're the only one there, and you drink it. And this is amazing. And then 2 days later, you crack one at home, and you go, what the hell is this ass water? Because that's typically what it tastes like. Exactly.
There has been a study done. A lot of studies have been done recently about that and food. And really, food is, you can make really good food, but really, when does food actually taste better? It's when you have a really good experience with that food. It's like going to a fine dining restaurant with a 5-course meal, and you've got the maitre d', and you've got the waiters all wearing tuxes, and that whole the ambiance, that experience. Of course, the food is going to taste better, but if you actually had the same chef, the same quality of food at your house, they cook it the same exact way, and they serve it to you, it's not going to be the same. And there's scientific proof behind that.
I believe it. That's awesome.
And folks, I know you probably have noticed it's been 22 minutes and 46 seconds, but John, since he has moved, has a technical issue and there is a slight delay. So we apologize for that slight delay. But you know what? If you have stuck with us for the last 5 years, you're not going to care. You're enjoying yourself right now listening to me make an idiot of myself. That's what we should rename the podcast. Nick is an idiot.
No one.
Maybe that's the new podcast.
Jen would tune in, I'm sure of that, but
I don't know. It's
great.
Right now, right now, people tune in because they are hoping that I'll be an idiot. But if I actually call it out ahead of time, no one's going to listen because they already know. It's kind of like the punchline to a joke. I am a punchline to my own joke,
and I think it's awesome.
Yes,
you say
that's what I keep telling myself.
John's a little slow. And I think people go, yeah, John's been slow for a long time. So I've just actually, the speed is like it's rocket fast right now. And I'm just pretending to be like this in between. So it seems like I can blame it on the internet. Really, I'm just slow mentally in this particular case.
I understand. I've been there, done that. I can relate to the nth degree. The only reason I know you're lying, though, is because right now I'm looking at a blank screen. So I know that you're very slow, John. You're very slow, but it's okay. I told you. I don't always want to watch. Oh, there you're back now. I don't always want to see your face, right?
What?
What? I don't know. It just, when I don't get to see your face, it makes it hard for me to do the thumbnails for YouTube.
Yes, I suppose. I still have my favorite though. I grabbed a thumbnail when you and I were on PoddiMouths, oddly enough, and we were both laughing, oddly enough, at the same time. And the shot is both of our heads thrown back identically, just like this, laughing.
Yeah.
And so those are worth the weight in gold, despite slow part. But yes, so to Nick's point, I am still working out internet issues with this. You build a new house and then you call all the high-speed internet companies and they go, "Oh no, we don't serve there. Oh no, maybe this year later." And so after I throttle them all verbally, I find out that I'm going to have to reinvent something. So that's what I'm doing in the midst of reinventing. So forgive the speed issues. Nick is right; it's on my end this time. And so we'll make it work, though.
You know what? That's in my mind. We're going to talk serious here for a minute because you are a sales professional. I pretend to know a lot of sales professionals. You have done sales training in the past. That's the one thing that really annoys me about people who are perceived, and I'm using that word very pointedly, perceived to be good salespeople. The reason they're good salespeople is because they sell a lot, not because they're actually good at what they do. A lot of really good, and I'm not, again, broad stroke, not calling everyone bad, but a lot of those quality, those number one, because they sell a ton salespeople, they sell a lot because they lie. And that drives me nuts. And the internet people when we first moved to this house, I was calling, because the old house was in a completely different town, and I called to cancel my internet because I was going to get new internet when we moved to this house. Well, this major company said, "Oh, you don't have to do that." And I want to put context to this. I had a 12 megabit, I think it was 12. It was very, very low, 12 megabit download speed at the house in Dixon. Very slow. When I moved here, I wanted more speed because we were coming into the city, quote unquote. But this particular company said, "Oh no, you don't have to cancel. Let's just transfer because according to our notes, we have fiber running into your neighborhood. So you can stay with us, but your speed will go up to a gigabit." I'm like, okay, we'll do that. Sign me up. Let's do it. We move, we get into the house. I call them, say we've moved into the house. I want you to come in and put the new line in. "Oh, I'm sorry, sir. The Ethernet or the fiber optic network isn't going into your neighborhood. It's just passing in front of your neighborhood. So it might be a few months, but we'll get it into your neighborhood." "Okay, what can you do for me in the meantime?" "Well, we'll give you the same 12 megabit that you had before, but we'll do half the cost for 6 months. And then we can come in and do the line." Okay, did that. 6 months later. "All right, I'm ready for my fiber." And this is about the time we started the podcast, by the way. "I'm ready for the fiber. I need it because I work in the internet." "Oh, sir, I'm sorry. We're not going to do that. You're just going to have to live with the 12 megabit speed. No, by the way, your price is going back up to normal." Said, "The hell it is. The price isn't going back to normal. You're going to come in and pick up your shit because I'm going over to a different company." Haven't looked back since. The fiber is still not running into the neighborhood. Yeah. I couldn't believe it. I could not believe it.
That's exactly what you find. You find everybody, well, we've got the fiber or we've got and I talked to a company that said they have fiber. Yes, and it's going to be great, but not yet for your neighborhood because it's building, it's a new build. And, but we'll have DSL for you. DSL, super. No. DSL is slower than what we're currently on, if you can imagine that. So we passed on the DSL. But we also looked at satellite and we've looked at everything. So we'll struggle with it. But you're right. It's not it's sometimes that tell them whatever they want to hear. And there are other things that make people good. You're so right on about. Some people will tell, fables in order to get somebody to buy something. We hear that all the time in our business. But the truth is, a lot of times it's just they got bad at selling, and they have a really good product that sells itself sometimes. And then they don't have to brush up on caring for customers and asking good questions to find out how I can match them with what's important to them. And so by skipping those steps, it kind of pisses people off. Like us, for example, who use stuff like this for our businesses. So,
well, it gives salespeople, the good ones, who are really good people that want to do right. They want to help their customer. I mean, that's what Sales 101. Figure out what the customer needs and help them get that. Well, that's the easiest way. You find it's a needs assessment. Find out what the customer needs and then fit the product to that customer. And so everyone's happy, right? That's the part that, so it's giving the people who actually do it the right way a very bad name, which makes our jobs even that much harder.
Well, or easier, depending upon what the way.
Anyway, I'm off my high horse now.
You could just say,
exactly.
Hey, I'm
exactly.
always going to have work because people do such a shitty job selling. So I'm going to be busy the whole time.
Right.
And there's some truth to that, but yeah, you're right. It's about longevity. How do we retain our customers? Not how do we sell them once? Because for the real profitability is helping them buy many times over.
Yep. Exactly. So anyway, that's my high horse for today. I hate to get serious every once in a while, but that's what we do here on PoddiMouths. We go one way, we talk about absolutely nothing, and then we talk about something, even though that's the reverse. So we're going to have to do it in the reverse, John. I forgot about that. We talked about something serious at the end instead of the beginning, because our tagline is a podcast about everything and absolutely nothing. And we just talked about something after talking about absolutely nothing. I don't know how I'm going to be able to reconcile this. This is truly a problem, guys.
I want to make sure we look at the difference between you said opposite. We talked about, sometimes we go one way and then we go the opposite. I want to be careful people don't assume that we go both ways, because that's actually a different opposite. And I want to, make sure
that's a completely different opposite. Yeah.
Okay.
Absolutely. I would agree. So, but I do think, with our technical issues and all that stuff, I do think we're going to wrap it up here. Unless, John, you've got something big news-wise you want to talk about. I
always have big news, Nick, but no, we're going to say thanks to everybody, and I'm going to do a Nick close, which will say, on that note, let's just wrap things up and remind you, though, to go out and see us at all of our social network spots. You can hit us everywhere, and you can find your way to them by visiting PoddiMouths.com, or actually, as Nick likes to say,
that's right.
PoddiMouths.com. And you can check us out there. Hit our Instagram. Make sure if you're not on YouTube watching, make sure you check out YouTube, and make sure to like and subscribe. If you would, please smash that like button, and check us out in any
smash that like button. Smash it hard
as well. Hit it hard, and
that's right.
So Spotify or Stitcher or wherever you like to get your podcast, that's where we're going to mostly cause you most of your nightmares. So please join us.
And speaking of not nightmares, but cozy dreams, I do want to do a plug. I will be honest, I have not yet listened, but it's a brand new podcast, and it's a family member of mine who's launching it. She is a beauty expert, and it is called Beckoning Brilliance, with my cousin, Rebecca or Becca Lilimo. So check Beckoning Brilliance if you get a chance. I am going to listen as well at some point, so I can talk about it educatedly, but I did want to push that out there, because we were chatting about it on socials the other day, and I'm really, really proud of her for taking that leap and actually setting out to do what we've done in 5 years ago. 5 whole freaking years ago, John. You still there? John, you still there? Hello? He's still there, folks. Don't worry. I know he's there.
Of course I'm here. Yes, 5 years ago. We are aging.
Of course you're here. Of course you're
I
here.
think that's fine to note that we're like a fine wine, which you will not get at that place you got at the Minnie Pearl's place. But like a fine wine.
Actually, no, it's good wine.
Wonderful.
It's good wine.
Sure it is. While you're there, it is not the
I
next
bought
day.
a very... Right. I bought a very nice bottle of port out there that I'm looking. It's going to be a special occasion port because it was not cheap, but it was good. And one last little tidbit that I completely forgot. So you know what? I'm just gonna. Oh, I remember. No, I don't. Yes, I do. No, I'm just that. I just needed to make John laugh one more time before we called it a day. So, folks, we will. There was something I wanted to talk about, because you were talking about aging gracefully, and that was Jennifer made me look at made me. We found our wedding album, and she made me look at it, which I want to say was not a long time ago, but it was quite a bit a time ago. And really, I don't think I physically changed much, but my hair, with the hair that I do have, I did not have any gray in my hair when I got married, and now my hair is almost completely gray /white. I thought that was unique. But we're going to have to talk about that a little bit more and compare wedding stories and our looks when we got married on the next PoddiMouths episode, which we will have coming out hopefully here shortly. Anyway, John told you where to go find us and all that good stuff, so I'm just going to say see you next week, folks.